outlasts every empire. In this video, you'll discover the 21 Stoic rules of power, timeless principles that can outsmart chaos, silence ennemi, and make your presence unforgettable. Not tricks, not games, but disciplines so sharp they turn you into a force people adjust to without even knowing why. Every conversation, every meeting, every stage you walk into, it's easy to believe the power belongs to the loudest voice in the room, the one with the strongest opinion, the boldest confidence, or the sharpest words. But the Stoics knew the truth. Power doesn't begin with dominance over others. It begins with discipline over yourself. Think about it. If your emotions are out of control, you don't own your voice. Your anger speaks for you. Your insecurity leaks through your words. Your need for recognition makes you predictable. And predictability is weakness, because it allows others to control you simply by pressing the right buttons. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom isn't about wealth or influence. It's about being unshakable no matter what storm surrounds you. Imagine two men walk into the same room. The first one is loud, opinionated, quick to interrupt, eager to show how much he knows. The second one enters quietly. He observes. He doesn't rush to speak. His calmness unsettles people because it cannot be read. Who do you think holds more power? The first might grab attention for a moment, but the second owns the room without lifting a finger. Why? Because he mastered himself before trying to master others. This is the foundation of Stoic power. Before you seek to persuade, to influence, to command, respect, you must conquer the battlefield within. 1. Master your emotions. The first war is against reactivity. Most people live as slaves to triggers. A snide remark makes them defensive. A dismissive tone ignites anger. An insult pulls them into an argument that was never worth their energy. The Stoic doesn't play that game. He recognizes that disrespect, insults, mockery, all of it is information, not injury. Someone tries to provoke you that tells you about them, not you. Their disrespect is a mirror of their own insecurity. When you refuse to react emotionally, you break the cycle. They expect noise. You give silence. They expect anger. You deliver calm. They expect a fight. You let them fight themselves. And suddenly, the power shifts. 2. Master your desires. The second war is against craving approval. Look around today. Everyone is performing for validation, posting achievements, chasing likes, begging for recognition. But the more you need others to approve of you, the more power they hold over you. The Stoic flips the script. He doesn't chase applause. He doesn't measure his worth by popularity. His validation comes from within, from knowing he stayed true to his principles. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free," and bravery, in Stoic terms, means daring to live by your values, even if no one claps for you. When you no longer need their approval, their criticism loses its sting, and in that moment, you become unshakable. 3. Master your focus. The third war is against distraction. Most people scatter their energy across every argument, every opinion, every meaningless debate. They want to correct, to explain, to justify, but in doing so, they bleed out their strength. The Stoic disciplines his focus. He chooses what deserves his energy and ignores the rest. He doesn't argue with every fool. He doesn't chase every battle. He knows that focus is the purest form of power, because what you give attention to, you feed, and what you starve. These. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Why this matters in the room. When you walk into a room with this level of self-mastery, everything changes. People can sense it instantly. Your calm unnerves them because it cannot be provoked. Your silence draws them in because it cannot be predicted. Your presence commands attention because it doesn't beg for it. And this is where true influence begins. You don't need to prove you're the smartest. You don't need to dominate the conversation. Your restraint itself becomes your leverage. People wonder, what is he thinking? Why isn't he reacting? Why does she look so calm while everyone else is frantic? That curiosity gives you power. That self-control makes you the gravitational center of the room, a practical Stoic exercise. The next time you're tested, whether it's in a meeting, a family conflict, or a casual insult, pause, breathe, remind yourself, this is information, not injury. Don't rush to respond. Don't let your emotions write your script. Observe the impulse, but don't obey it. Then choose deliberately how you'll respond, or whether you'll respond at all. That single pause is the difference between being owned by the moment and owning the moment. The Stoic takeaway: power built on manipulation can be taken away. Power built on performance fades when the audience changes. But power built on self-mastery is unshakable. That's why Rule 1 is the foundation of all the others. Always master yourself before mastering the room. Because the man who controls himself controls the atmosphere, and the man who cannot control himself will always be controlled by others. Words are cheap. Silence is priceless. Everywhere you look today, people are drowning in noise. Everyone's posting, ranting, debating, explaining. But the Stoics understood what most people still don't. The more you talk, the more you reveal, the less you say, the more power you hold. Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by what they see than what they hear. The Stoics would add, when you speak less, people see more. They don't hear empty words. They feel your presence. Why too many words destroy power? Most people talk because they fear silence. They fear being misunderstood. They fear people won't notice them unless they fill the air. But what happens when you talk too much? 1. You reveal insecurity. The need to over-explain shows you're not sure of yourself. 2. You create weakness. The more details you give, the more ammunition others have to use against you. 3. You lose presence. A voice that never stops speaking becomes background noise. The Stoic doesn't fall into this trap. He knows silence is not emptiness. Silence is leverage. Silence as a psychological weapon. Think about it when someone insults you. They want your reaction. If you get angry, they win. If you defend yourself, They still win because you just admitted their words mattered. But if you say nothing, if you just look at them calmly, maybe with the faintest smile, now the silence eats at them. They start replaying their own words. They wonder if they crossed a line. They feel exposed. That's the paradox your silence says more than any argument ever could. The Stoics believed every word should serve a purpose. Epictetus said, "Be silent, or let your words be worth more than silence." If what you're about to say won't add value, then silence is stronger. The art of precision when the Stoic speaks. He speaks with precision. One sentence, not three. A single phrase that cuts sharper than 100 explanations. His words are like a surgeon's blade, measured, deliberate, unforgettable. Consider Marcus Aurelius. He didn't write long essays to justify himself. He wrote short meditations, clear, exact, timeless. Why? Because truth doesn't need decoration. It needs clarity. When you speak less, people lean in. They replay your words later because they're still trying to extract meaning. Mystery makes your voice echo long after you stop speaking. Silence creates projection. Here's the hidden power of silence. It makes others do the work for you. When you stop talking, they start imagining. They wonder what you're thinking. They fill the gap with their own fears, their own doubts, their own insecurities. And 9 times out of 10, what they imagine is worse than anything you could have said. That's why silence is more intimidating than aggression. Anger is predictable. Silence is not. Practical Stoic strategy 1. In conflict. Next time someone pushes you, don't rush to reply. Hold the silence for a beat longer than comfortable. Watch them scramble to fill it. 2. In negotiation, say less than you know. Give a clear statement. Then stop. Let the other side talk themselves into revealing more. 3. In daily life practice, reducing explanations. Instead of justifying every choice, simply state it once. Confidence doesn't explain, it decides. Modern application. In today's world of constant broadcasting, silence is even more powerful. Everyone is building personal brands, oversharing every detail, proving their value through endless noise. But the Stoic flips this on its head. He understands that the less people know about you, the more they respect what they can't see. Say little on social media. Share results, not process. Let them discover you've already built something instead of announcing your every move. Control the rhythm of disclosure. Appear calm, quiet, private. That contrast makes your presence magnetic. The Stoic takeaway: silence is not passivity, it's control. It's the ability to let others drown in their own noise while you conserve your strength. When you speak, let it be enough, not to satisfy curiosity, not to prove your worth, but to leave an imprint. Then stop, because the space between your words is where the real power lives. Remember this rule: the one who speaks less controls more. And when you master that rule, you'll discover the truth. The Stoics carried in their hearts a calm silence can shake an entire room more than the loudest voice ever could. In today's world, everyone is fighting to be seen, They shout to prove their worth. They brag about credentials, post endless achievements, and demand recognition. But the Stoic knows a deeper truth. Visibility is not always power. Sometimes, invisibility is the greatest advantage of all. Why being underestimated is power. Most people fear being underestimated. They take it as an insult. They want to correct it immediately. Let me prove myself. Let me show you what I can do. But when you correct someone's underestimation, you've already surrendered the element of surprise. The Stoic takes the opposite approach. He allows others to underestimate him, sometimes even encourages it. Why? Because when people believe you are harmless, they lower their guard. They expose their weaknesses. They reveal their intentions openly, believing you pose no threat. And when the time comes to act, you move from a position they never prepared for. The paradox of power in silence, Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The Stoic doesn't need to announce his strength. He embodies it quietly, letting others sleep on him until the moment reality wakes them. Think of a battlefield. Who is more dangerous, the warrior shouting threats before the fight, or the one who waits silently, observing, conserving his energy? The loud one reveals his strategy. The quiet one holds his power. And when he strikes, it feels inevitable. Being underestimated is not weakness. It's camouflage. Real-world application 1. At work. Let colleagues assume you're not ambitious, not competitive, not a threat. While they waste energy posturing, you study the room, refine your craft, and act decisively when the opportunity arrives. 2. In relationships. When toxic people think you're passive, they overplay their hand. They reveal manipulation more openly, thinking you'll never notice. That's when you see them clearly and protect yourself. 3. In conflict, don't rush to show aggression. Let the other person think they have the upper hand. Their arrogance makes them sloppy, and their mistakes become your leverage. The discipline behind invisibility. Of course, this requires discipline. Your ego will scream to correct people. It will demand recognition. It will want to shout, "Don't underestimate me," but the Stoic resists. He remembers that recognition is not power, control is. And control comes from patience. Seneca said, "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness." Part of that road is letting people misunderstand you without rushing to fix their perception. Let them think small of you. Their misjudgment becomes your cover. Why the Stoics embraced this rule. The Stoics lived in empires full of politics, betrayal, and manipulation. They survived not by boasting, but by restraint. Their calm was misread as passivity. Their silence was misread as weakness. And yet, their discipline made them stronger than the rulers they advised. The same is true today. In a world addicted to visibility, constant posts, endless self-promotion, the person who chooses invisibility becomes an anomaly, and anomalies create curiosity. People start asking, why are they so calm? Why aren't they competing for attention? What are they really building by letting others underestimate you? You plant the seed of mystery. and mystery is gravity. A Stoic exercise to practice. Next time you're in a group, resist the urge to prove yourself. Observe instead. Let others show off. Interrupt. Dominate the room. Then, when you do speak, say one precise thing that cuts through the noise. Notice what happens. Silence falls. People turn. Suddenly, the one they underestimated becomes the one they can't ignore. The Stoic takeaway power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes it hides in plain sight until the moment it's undeniable. When people underestimate you, don't rush to correct them. Let them. Their arrogance is your cover. Their blindness is your advantage. Their underestimation is your shield. Because the Stoics knew the most dangerous person in the room isn't the one everyone is watching. It's the one no one noticed until it was too late. That is why Rule 3 is timeless. Let them underestimate you. Invisibility builds advantage. We live in an age of exposure. Everyone is broadcasting everything, what they're building, what they're planning, what they're feeling. Every move is posted. Every thought is shared. Every strategy is public. But the Stoic knows the more people see, the more power you give away. Why you must guard your input. The world is obsessed with transparency, but full transparency is weakness. When people know exactly how you think, exactly how you work, exactly how you prepare, they can predict you. And when they can predict you, they can block you. That's why the Stoic guards his input, his planning, his preparation, his inner work. These remain private. His journals, his routines, his mental strategies off limits to outsiders. Marcus Aurelius filled entire notebooks with thoughts, reflections, and strategies, but he never meant to publish them. They were private tools to discipline his mind. His input was sacred. His output, his rule as emperor, was what the world saw. And that's the balance. Output must be precise, not excessive. Guarding your input doesn't mean hiding your output. The Stoic still acts. He still produces. He still speaks when necessary. But here's the difference. His output is deliberate, sharp, and minimal. He doesn't announce every step. He doesn't explain every choice. He doesn't give away his entire hand. He shows only what's necessary, and he shows it with precision. This creates two effects. 1. Surprise. People don't see you coming until you've already moved. 2. Respect. When you reveal less, every word and every action carries more weight. The danger of overexposure. Look at the modern world. Everyone is chasing a personal brand. They broadcast goals before achieving them. They share drafts instead of results. They tell you what they're building before it's ready. And then they wonder why others copy, compete, or sabotage. The Stoic avoids this trap. He understands the principle: the seed grows best underground, not under a spotlight. When you reveal your process too early, you invite interference. But when you build quietly, in private, your work arrives complete. Undeniable, untouchable. Practical Stoic applications. 1. Work. Don't explain every idea in meetings. Prepare privately. Reveal results only when they're sharp enough to stand on their own. 2. Personal life. Don't share every detail of your goals, struggles, or next moves. Protect your inner world. Let people see outcomes, not blueprints. 3. Conflict. Don't tell enemies how you'll respond. Let your silence prepare the field. Let your action arrive when they least expect it. The illusion of openness. Here's the paradox. You can still appear open without being open. A Stoic will nod, smile, share just enough to satisfy curiosity, but never the full picture. He gives fragments, not the whole design. This disarms people. They think they know you. They think they understand how you move. But in truth, they're chasing shadows. And when you finally reveal your real output, it feels like you moved impossibly fast. Stoic wisdom on control. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." The Stoic sets his direction in private, then acts in public. The control is internal. The results are external. This discipline separates the powerful from the vulnerable. Most people need applause during the process. The Stoic waits until the process is done, then lets the results speak for themselves. The Stoic take away control. What people see, guard what people can't. Never explain more than necessary. Your private discipline is your foundation. Your public precision is your weapon. And when you master this balance, you no longer need to compete in the marketplace of noise. You stand apart. Because in a world addicted to exposure, invisibility is leverage. And in a world obsessed with constant updates, precision is unforgettable. That's why Rule 4 is clear. Keep your input private. Keep your output precise. Do the work in silence. Deliver the result like a blade. Everyone wears a mask. Some wear the mask of arrogance, hiding insecurity. Others wear the mask of humor, covering pain. Many wear the mask of chaos, letting their emotions spill into every room they enter. But the Stoic chooses his mask with discipline. He cultivates one thing, above all, calm. Why calm is the most powerful mask in a chaotic world. Calm is rare, and whatever is rare is valuable. When you walk into a room agitated, emotional, or loud, you broadcast weakness. You reveal that the world dictates your state of mind. But when you walk in steady, measured tone, composed body language, a calm gaze, you broadcast strength without saying a word. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Calm is not pretending everything is fine. Calm is demonstrating that no matter what happens, you remain unshaken. This mask unsettles people because while they are tossed around by every insult, every rumor, every setback, you stand like stone, and stone becomes unmovable. The illusion of perfection versus the power of stability. Most people think they need to look perfect to gain respect. They try to appear flawless, always smiling, always polished. But perfection is boring. It creates no tension, no intrigue. People stop noticing it. What the Stoic cultivates isn't perfection, but stability. A calm mask doesn't mean you never show emotion. It means the emotions never control you. It means that even when the world expects a reaction, you hold your frame. Think of Epictetus. He was born a slave, mocked, insulted, even physically abused. Yet he cultivated a calm so deep that no master could provoke him. That calm became his mask, and eventually his power. Why people obsess over the calm mask. Here's the paradox: when you appear calm under pressure, people begin to imagine depths in you that may not even exist. They project strength, wisdom, and even mystery onto your silence. This is why leaders who remain composed in crisis are remembered, not because they solved every problem instantly, but because their calm gave others confidence. Their mask of stability created order in chaos. When others can't read you, they obsess. They ask, what does he know? Why isn't she reacting? What are they hiding behind that calm? Your stability becomes their fixation. Practical Stoic applications. 1. In conflict. When someone attacks you, resist the urge to show anger. Hold a calm expression, measured tone. This alone dismantles their power. 2. In leadership. In moments of crisis, don't mirror panic. Anchor the room with your composure. Even if you don't have the solution yet, your stability reassures others. 3. In daily life, train yourself to pause before reacting. A calm gaze, a steady breath, a slow response. These small disciplines build the calm mask naturally, the controlled fracture. Here's the advanced Stoic move occasionally. Let the mask slip, but only by choice. Show a flash of intensity, a glimpse of depth, a sharp truth delivered without warning. This reminds people that behind the calm lies controlled fire. Why does this work? Because people don't obsess over what they fully understand. They obsess over what feels just out of reach. Your calm is addictive because it's consistent, but when they see a brief crack, one flash of passion or power, they will chase the meaning behind it for years. This is not manipulation. It's discipline. You choose when and how to reveal emotion, instead of letting chaos choose for you. Stoic wisdom on masks. Seneca wrote, "Self-command is the greatest command of all." The calm mask is not deception, it's self-command made visible. It tells the world, you cannot reach inside me. You cannot dictate my state. And here's the paradox. The more you practice calm, the less it becomes a mask, and the more it becomes your nature. Over time, calm is not something you wear, it is something you are. The Stoic takeaway in a noisy, chaotic, emotional world. The calm mask is the ultimate advantage. It draws people in, it unsettles enemy, it commands respect without demand. Never confuse calm with weakness. Weakness reacts. Calm chooses. Never confuse calm with passivity. Passivity avoids. Calm confronts but without losing control. Rule 5 is this: cultivate a calm mask. Show stability, not chaos. Because, in the end, chaos may shake the world, but stability always shapes it. Warmth is one of the most powerful forces in human connection. A smile, a kind word, a small gesture of approval, it can disarm hostility, strengthen alliances, and inspire loyalty. But here's the truth most people don't want to face when warmth is given freely. It loses all of its value. Why constant warmth becomes weakness? Think of the people who are always smiling, always agreeing, always pouring out kindness to everyone around them. At first, it feels pleasant, but soon, you stop valuing it. You stop respecting it. Why? Because it costs them nothing. Anything that costs nothing eventually means nothing. When warmth is unconditional, when everyone receives it, equally it's taken for granted. Worse, it invite exploitation. People assume your kindness is weakness. They assume they can cross you and still keep your favor. The Stoic refuses to let that happen. Selective warmth as power. The Stoic practices selective warmth. His kindness is genuine, but not automatic. His approval must be earned. His smile is rare, and that rarity makes it priceless. This doesn't mean being cold or cruel. It means being intentional. Warmth becomes a reward, not a default. It's something people strive to deserve, not something they assume is guaranteed. Marcus Aurelius, despite being emperor, was admired not because he was endlessly friendly, but because when he did show kindness, it was meaningful. His measured warmth carried weight, precisely because it wasn't handed out freely. The psychology of rarity. Human beings are wired to desire what is scarce. Diamonds are valuable because they are rare. Silence is powerful because it is rare. In the same way, your warmth becomes influence when it's rare. Imagine someone who hardly ever laughs. The day they laugh, the entire room feels it. Or someone who rarely gives compliments. When they finally say, "That was impressive," the compliment lands like a thunderclap. That's selective warmth in action. It magnifies its impact by being uncommon. Practical Stoic applications. 1. In leadership, don't constantly praise. Praise selectively. Let your approval mean something. Your team will work harder. Not for fear, but for the value of your rare recognition. 2. In relationships, don't let others assume they have unlimited access to your kindness. Show love and care intentionally, but also set clear boundaries. This balance keeps respect alive. 3. In daily encounters, practice giving less automatic responses. Instead of always smiling out of habit, let your neutral presence be the baseline. When you do smile, people will feel it. The trap of wanting to be liked. The hardest part of selective warmth is resisting the urge to be universally liked. Most people hand out kindness because they fear disapproval. They want to keep the peace, to smooth things over, to be the person nobody dislikes. But the Stoics knew that living for approval is slavery. Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, stop trying to please everyone. When you withhold warmth, some people will resent it. Let them. Their resentment is proof that your approval had value in the first place. Selective warmth builds authority. Authority doesn't come from shouting or controlling. It comes from making your presence felt. Selective warmth adds weight to your presence. People adjust their tone around you, not because you demanded it, but because they want to remain in your good graces. And when they realize your kindness is earned, not assumed, they begin to regulate themselves. They become more respectful, more measured, more careful because they know your warmth is not guaranteed. The Stoic takeaway. The Stoics weren't cold. They weren't emotionless statues. They valued connection, community, and compassion. But they also understood that anything given too freely becomes worthless. That's why Rule 6 matters. Your warmth must be selective. Your approval must be earned. When you live this way, your kindness stops being background noise. It becomes a force. It becomes an anchor. It becomes the rare flame that others gather around, not because you gave it recklessly, but because you gave it with purpose. In the end, selective warmth is not about withholding love. It's about elevating it, turning it into something so intentional, so disciplined, that when people receive it, they know it truly means something. Respect is not something you request. Respect is something you enforce. And nothing tests your self-worth more than how you respond when someone disrespects you. Most people make the same mistake. They get hurt. They forgive too quickly. And they allow the relationship to return to normal. But once you go back to normal after being disrespected, you've taught the other person something dangerous, that your boundaries are negotiable. The Stoic never makes this mistake. Why disrespect is never just a moment. Disrespect is not an accident. It's a test, a probe, a quiet way of asking, how much can I get away with if you let it slide? You've answered the question. If you explain it away, you've excused it. If you forgive without adjustment, you've rewarded it. The Stoic mindset reframes disrespect as data. It's not about ego. It's not about being offended. It's about seeing the truth. This person just revealed how little they value your dignity. And once revealed, it can't be unseen. The rule access must change. The Stoic response to disrespect is simple. Access must be redrawn. That doesn't always mean rage, revenge, or total cutoff, but it does mean recalibration. If they had free access to your time, now it must be limited. If they had casual access to your trust, now it must be earned. If they had intimate access to your heart, now it must be guarded. By redrawing access, you send the silent message, I may forgive, but I will never forget. The old version of me that tolerated disrespect no longer exists. This is how respect is enforced, not through speeches, but through boundaries. Why people fear changed access. When you withdraw access, people panic. They're not panicking about you, they're panicking about the version of themselves they used to be when they had you. They remember the comfort, the support, the validation. When you pull that away, they don't just lose you, they lose the version of themselves that only existed in your presence. That absence haunts them more than any argument could. Seneca once said, "Fire tests gold. Adversity tests the brave." In the same way, disrespect tests boundaries. And the Stoic's boundary is unshakable once you show me who you are. I believe you and I adjust permanently. Practical Stoic Applications. 1. At work. A colleague undermines you publicly. Don't argue back. Stay calm. But remove their influence by limiting collaboration. From now on, they get less of your input and none of your trust. 2. In relationships. A friend mocks you in front of others. Don't pretend it was harmless. Don't laugh it off. Redraf access. Maybe they still exist in your circle, but not in your inner circle. 3. In family. A relative disrespects your choices. You don't have to fight. You don't have to justify, but you do have to pull back. Fewer details shared. Less emotional exposure. Never return to normal. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness without adjustment is. The Stoic forgives internally to keep peace of mind, but he never reopens doors that disrespect has closed. Because to return to normal is to erase the lesson, and life punishes those who erase lessons. You don't owe anyone normal after they've crossed the line. You owe yourself protection. You owe yourself boundaries. You owe yourself the strength to say, access to me is not free. It is earned. And once lost, it is never fully restored. The Stoic takeaway. Every act of disrespect is a negotiation. The terms are simple: tolerate it, and you sign away your dignity. Redraf access, and you reinforce your worth. That's why Rule 7 is this: redraw access after disrespect. Never return to normal, because normal is where they disrespected you in the first place. And the Stoic never goes back to what broke him. Power isn't in noise. It isn't in shouting, demanding, or forcing. Real power is in the discipline to walk away from disrespect. In the silence that makes people second-guess themselves.